In this video, we are going to be using tables to compare ratios. Evidence-wise, we're going to create equivalent ratios to fill out our tables. Watch the last video if you don't remember how to do that. I think it was an example 2. Compare and contrast ratios, which ones are bigger, which ones are smaller, how do you compare them? And of course, we're going to use comparisons to solve real-world problems. Our learning experience is there. It's pretty standard at this point, having 2 you-dos and 2 examples, plus things to remember and suggested practice problems at the end. So let's move right into our first part of the example. So our first example here, we have the problem Marth is able to run 50 meters in 15 seconds. Sita is able to run 30 meters in 10 seconds. You're going to create ratio tables for each person. So we did this in the last video, but just as a quick refresher, all you need to do is, first of all, write your ratio, your initial ratio, into your table. We know that Marth can run 50 meters in 15 seconds, so we have 15 meters, 15 seconds. After that, we are going to just fill in the rest of this. The easiest way to make a ratio table is to start by multiplying it by 2, and then by 3, and then by 4. I think you get the idea. And the last one would, of course, be by 5. But whatever pattern you do, you must do to the other term as well. So we're going to multiply them by 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5. So, not too bad, that should be a review. And what you're going to do for your first you-do problem is make a ratio table for Sita.
Let's go.
She can run 30 meters in 10 seconds. Start your ratio table with those values, and then do the same thing. Fill out the entire table, because we might need the entire table. We'll find out. Alright, so you have now filled in your table for Sita. It should look like this, in case you're wondering. And that's really the hard mathematical part done. The last part of this is we're just going to compare the 2 tables. Now, we're trying to figure out who is running faster, you'll remember. So what we probably want to do is we probably want to look at our meters for both people and find some value that they have in common. And if I compare the 2, I see that there's 150 meters that Marth ran here, and 150 meters that Sita ran here. So we're going to look at the other number in that pair and compare those 2 numbers. If we do so, we know that 45 is less than 50. So that must mean that since Marth ran the same distance in 5 less seconds, Marth must be faster than Sita.
As you say.
Okay? So that's all that you need to do. You just need to make 2 ratio tables, look for numbers that are similar, in common, and then compare them. You could have also done this by looking at the seconds. You'll notice both people have a time of 30 seconds, and if we look at how far they've gone in those 30 seconds, Marth has still gone further in 30 seconds than Sita. Only by 10 meters, which isn't very long, but it's still going to suggest that he's a little bit faster. For your second you-do, you're going to do the same thing, but this time instead of Marth, you have Gordon.
But more!
Sita and Gordon are racing. You're going to compare the tables of ratios to determine who this time is running faster. You're going to explain how you know. Things to remember from this video. To compare 2 ratios, you need to first create a ratio table, really for each ratio, for each person or situation, whatever it might be. Once you've done that, which is really the difficult mathematical part, you're going to look for values that are the same and compare that pair of terms. So think about in the example we did, we compared Marth and Sita's distances and times to see who was going faster. If you can manage all of that, you'll certainly score on any exit ticket or test you'll take. You should get a score of
5 points!
To wrap up our video, we have just one suggested practice problem for today. We have Mr. H's YouTube channel, which you are watching right now. It has an average like to dislike ratio of 12 to 1. The channel Arron Kennedy, which is just a random channel that I found that also did a video on comparing or using ratio tables, they have a like to dislike ratio of 15 to 3. You're going to create ratio tables to help you compare the two channels. Who has the higher ratio of likes to dislikes? Whose videos are more liked than the other person's? Give it a shot. Pause the video if you need to write down the problem, and good luck.